past the hour, and it's time for your tropical update. Let's see what's going on in the tropics. First of all, a little climatology here, and it helps us out as we look at history to see where tropical cyclones tend to form, because areas that you just don't see any, you can make your job easier. For instance, back over the coast of Africa, upper air winds are so unfavorable this time of year that since 1886, there hasn't been anything to form off the coast of Africa. There's been a few, though, near the islands, all the way over from the Bahamas to near Puerto Rico, and also a small cluster in the western Caribbean Sea. But other than that, we're pretty good to go now. Here's our situation. Nicholas still hanging on. Yesterday, Nicholas looked very bad, very sick. It was being cheered by some high-level winds. It's made something of a comeback today into the Caribbean Sea. Also, some showers and storms are developing. Let's look at Nicholas. Here's our advisory, 11 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 18.5 north, 51.5 west. That's over 700 miles east of the Leeward Islands. Top sustained winds at 50 miles per hour. It's moving off to the west at about 8, and there's the pressure estimated. Again, first of all, the infrared picture here, that's where the satellite measures some of the temperatures of the clouds and or color codes them. So the dark red is telling us where you have vigorous showers and storms. If anything, Nicholas is now making a comeback. It looked very poorly organized yesterday. Now some of those heavier showers and storms are again trying to build over the top of the center, although still this eastern semicircle is being sheared by some high-level winds. Nonetheless, it is in better shape than it was yesterday. Over toward the Caribbean Sea, flare-up of showers and storms, and this is one of those areas that you look for potential of some development. Infrared satellite photograph showing this cluster. It's off to the south of the Dominican Republic and Haiti and extends off to the south of Jamaica. So right now it's a very broad area of showers and storms. Something else to point out, there's also some pretty fast winds blowing upper atmosphere as you get up near Jamaica northward. So with that type of wind shear, you wouldn't expect development. If there's any chance at all the next couple of days, it would have to be pretty far to the south, we think. Over to the islands, Windward and Leeward Islands looking great today. We do have some clouds over to Puerto Rico and over to the Virgin Islands. Heading farther to the west, Hurricane Patricia. Here's latest information. 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Advisory, about 425 miles southwest of Acapulco. Minimal hurricane at 75. Still a good ways off the coast of Mexico, and you can see Patricia spinning around. Maybe some slightly higher wave action normal. That's about it. And heading over to the western Pacific, some major typhoon right here. You can see the eye off to the east of the Philippines. Also have a tropical storm, but this one is expected to strengthen. Right now, it is not moving very fast at all. The winds aren't really pushing it very much at all, but two tropical systems definitely have developed over the past few days. Let's look at what's happening in the tropics. Here's Janetta with a look at what's going on here in the States.
Well, I'll tell you, we have the potential for some scattered showers today in the Northeast as that trough is really coming into play from the Great Lakes into the New England area. Yes, the cloud cover's there. Yes, we have some cooler temperatures in place across the Midwest. A lot cooler than yesterday. No record highs, in other words. But we may also find the chance for some strong thunderstorms whipping through parts of Maine, as well as extending on into Boston, where we could find some scattered showers throughout the afternoon. So if you're out running some errands, you may need to know that rain gear will be important. It certainly was important yesterday with the wet conditions in Seattle. The wettest day on record. The rain just kept coming and coming and coming. Over 5 inches of rain for you, and that was quite something. Well, today you're clearing out and looking much nicer, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be another hot day across the Southwest. We may see more record heat, so get ready for that. Meanwhile, we're talking pretty nice weather across the Southeast. Rich?
Thanks, Janetta. Here's meteorologist Jim Cantor with more on tonight's episode of Storm Stories.
An entire highway crumbles as torrential rains pound Southern California. Tonight at 8 on Storm Stories, an 18-wheeler plummets into a raging river as the road underneath gives way. Now the driver is trapped and the truck's cab is quickly filling with water. Rescuers hold this man's fate in their hands. Tonight on Storm Stories, starting at 8 Eastern and Pacific, right here on the Weather Channel.
Coming up, we'll have your forecast from coast to coast.
Plus, the Northwest is getting a break from heavy rain today, but we have major problems with river flooding, especially in Washington State. Stay with us for more next.
So did the doctor.
Through Saturday, with temperatures in the 50s on Thursday.
Welcome back to PM Edition. It's 10 minutes before the hour, and that means it's time for your tropical update. So let's check in with our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. And Dr. Steve, we now have Hurricane Patricia in the eastern Pacific, but as far as the track, we don't have a lot of confidence in that.
That's exactly correct, Christina. The circulation is behaving pretty well now, but it's going to be a tricky forecast out in time. So we're going to show you the official Hurricane Center forecast, but take it with a grain of salt out at 5 days. Let's look at the latest information from the Hurricane Center at 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The couple interesting features, of course, it's become a hurricane, so it's 75 miles per hour, Category 1, moving northwest at 8. Here's the circulation here, and when you look at it, it looks like it's moving a little more west-northwest than straight northwest. And that's a rather interesting thing, because obviously the more westward it moves, the farther away from the land areas it gets. Now let's look at the close-up view of the circulation. You can see it there. Still not all that well defined. There's no eye associated with it, but the circulation is forecast to spin up and become a little bit stronger Category 1 hurricane over the next 48 hours. Now here's the trick here. Now which way is it going to go? Some of the models have it going straight to the west, or just barely north of west out in time. Some of our better models that we look at have it going north and then hooking back to the north-northeast through time. Some of them have it going north and then weakening and dying, never getting out to 5 days or barely getting out to 5 days. So here's the projected path based on the Hurricane Center's best estimate right now. And we're going to monitor this carefully. Keep in mind that if it comes in this way, it has a better chance of remaining strong all the way to the coast as compared to out here. And the reason for that is if we look at the sea surface temperatures, this cold California current comes way down the coast in the fall like this. Notice how cool the water temperatures are out here. So if it comes out this way and hooks into Baja, it's definitely going to be weakening quickly as compared to coming in here. It has a better chance of remaining a hurricane as it comes to the coastline if it comes that way. We're going to monitor this. Still plenty of time to watch it, but the track is highly uncertain at this time. Tropical Storm Nicholas out here in the central Atlantic Ocean is another system that just won't die. It's been out there for days now. Winds down to 45 miles per hour, moving to the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. This one we don't think has much longer to live as a tropical system. We're also monitoring these cluster showers here in the Caribbean. Those are the only two features of interest there. Now, when we look at our tropical storm out here, the low-level circulation is way out here, about 150 miles to the west of the high clouds and deeper thunderstorms. And notice this dagger of winds, this dagger of death coming in from the west. These winds are 50 miles per hour in the upper layers. So as this system comes, we don't think it's going to be able to come back as any significant system, eventually curve to the north as a weak system and merge with a frontal boundary. Now here's this area, broad area of low pressure. We can find no real strongly rotating low-level circulation. It's just a broad area of low pressure, fairly low, bringing some showers up toward the coastlines of Dominican Republic over the next 12 to 24 hours, and also toward Jamaica, but nothing to worry about right now. And the shear across the Gulf of Mexico is very strong. Now, out in the far western Pacific, we have a 145 mile per hour typhoon. It's forecast to become a super typhoon, which is 150 miles per hour or greater. It's going to head toward Iwo Jima over the next 2.5 to 3 days, but weaken in time. That's the good news. And we have another tropical storm here, and that's expected to become a typhoon, but that one we don't expect to hit land. That's the tropics. Here's Christina.
All right, Dr. Steve Lyons, thanks for the update. Now let's take a look at what's going on a little closer to home. And we are seeing, for a lot of the country, some very, very quiet weather. But there are some exceptions, and the most notable is in the Northeast, where we have a front moving through. We're going to see temperatures cooling down. And we also have a bit of wet weather and even some wintry weather here across northern New England. But farther southward, it's rain and even a few thunderstorms rumbling through parts of New England and southern New York. So a little closer view shows that some of that wet weather is moving south of Newburgh. Watch out, New York City, Hartford, eventually Providence could see some of these showers, and again we have some storms mixed in as well. Then farther northward, rain still moving through Maine, and farther northward a bit of wintry precipitation, but watch out for a few isolated thunderstorms in the area as well.
There's much more to come on the second hour of PM Edition. We'll take a look ahead to your weekend in the Weekly Planet.
Stay with us. We'll be back after your local on the 8th.
You're lovely, never ever change.
N10.